Romans chapter 10 verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Kala Yehovah Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Haraka Kwadash. So you want to be saved, Akim? You must call upon that name. First of all, you got to know it. As it says there, how then shall they call upon him whom they have not believed? How shall they believe in whom they have not heard? How shall they hear without a preacher? So we're going to continue to do that, push that vibration, that name, that energy around the globe, because there's power in the name, and we know that. We've seen it with our own eyes, we've witnessed it in our own lives. We know it's real. There's energy, there's life in that name. So we call upon that name, man. Like my vision I had, one of my visions, where I was surrounded by very strange looking people in my last video. But there is power in the name. Giant looking people surrounded me, tried to intimidate me. You know, sometimes what people may try and do when you're on the highways and the byways. You know, some of us have had those experiences on the highways and the byways where people have tried to come up and intimidate us or throw us out of our game, stop us from doing what we do, what we were born to do. Yeah, is to identify and wake up our people. This is what we were born to do. Not to be a part of this wicked world. We're separate from this world. We're peculiar people, separate, you know, as seen upon and looked upon as different, peculiar people. So that's why we push this name. We know we don't fit in this place, and people don't like that name. When they hear that name, Yahushua, you know, that's a bad omen to the heathens. It's like a demon, you know, Al-Shaddya, as they called him, you know, after the floods. Demon-like power. So whosoever shall call upon that name of the Lord shall be saved. So you got to know the name, man. Yahushua. Yahushua, he saves, he delivers, you know. And it will shock certain people, just like electric. Electric will shock people if they put their hands on that wire, you know, or put your hands in fire, you're going to get burned. Put your hands on wire, live wire, you're going to be shocked. That's the effect that it has on the heathens and all those haters, you know, for those of our own people that hate the name and hate his truth, hate this truth and hate his people, the enemies of truth, the 2/3 also, not to mention the Edomites. So that's what we're doing right now in this video. We're pushing that name. You know, that previous video I had where I just called upon the name when I was surrounded by all them, which was symbolic, tall, giant, brown looking people with big hair, which was symbolic of being outnumbered and being intimidated, symbolic. And what will you do? The question comes to mind, what will you do? Will you resort to carnality? Or will you resort to what you've been taught? You got to resort to what you've been taught all along. You can't go out of your game. You know, the martial artists, when they're put on, you know, which the first thing you do is when you've been challenged, is to try and diffuse the situation. That's the first thing that a martial art will do. You won't just try and react in a carnal way. You know, when you talk about the grandmasters, the ones that have been well taught, they don't react in carnal way. They try to diffuse the situation. But when it comes down to it, if their back's against the wall, they have to resort to what they've been taught. If it's Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Wing Chun, yeah, Judo, Karate, whatever it may be, MMA, yeah, the way of the intercepting fists, yeah, whatever it may be that you've been taught, when your back's against the wall, that's what you're going to resort to. But first of all, it's not, you don't just resort to that. The first thing you don't just resort to what you've been taught, you try and diffuse the situation. That's the wise thing to do. But if that fails, you do likewise, and then you get out of that area. So when we are challenged in any kind of way to try and for people to try and intimidate us and get us out of our game, we fall back on prayer. Yeah, we could say a quick prayer in the mind, you know, and then you call upon that name. You're going to say that prayer, Kala Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, you know, and that shows that you're resorting to what you've been taught, man. You know, and then you act according to the scriptures that come to your mind, man. Diffusing the situation, man. You know, a soft word breaketh bones, as it says in Proverbs. You understand? Diffuse the situation. So the vision I had was I was in a room, and this was no joke, man. This is a quick one. I'm just going to mention the things that I can remember, and if anything else comes to mind later on down the line, I bring them up. This vision I had. I was in a room, and then someone with a high authority of this world, you don't have to get into all the ins and outs about it, tried to challenge me and tried to grapes me up, man, and tried to hold me down. And I was calling upon the name, and he's trying to hold my leg, and he couldn't penetrate. He couldn't penetrate or do any damage to me or any damage to my leg. And next thing I know, let me bring out a precept. Let me bring out a precept, because let the precept start flowing, man. One thing I realize about these people, there's a lot of people that really ain't got nothing to do. They really ain't got nothing really better to do in their lives but to walk around and cause mischief. You can pick up energy from people. Pick up on people's energies. Walk around, watch people business, and try and see what they're doing. Cause them know I do nothing. You know. Leave people business alone, man. You know. So Romans, let's get this precept that comes to mind. Isaiah 53, 59, and the birds them are chiming. And 19. So shall they fear the name. Right. See the name there? How important is that name? You call upon that name. You could do it inwardly or you could do it outwardly. You know, you could say a quick prayer. Rahaka al shapakwa, call upon the spirit. Or agayek ashatan bashimi shai. I rebuke Satan in the name of Yahweh Bashimi Shai. You understand? I rebuke Satan. Agayek ashatan bashimi shai, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yes, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Yes, so the enemy came in. This was like a motel place. I must have been on the move. Could have been a fugitive thing, you know. Just going to pick up some of the bullet points of this vision and try to apprehend me. This enemy came in this place, this room. I think I was on the move in a motel or somewhere, and tried to apprehend me and tried to hold me, and he was trying to penetrate or do something to my leg. And all what he was trying to do, it wasn't working. It was like the leg was invincible, unbreakable. So he couldn't break the leg, and the next thing I know, I had him in a hold, like a jiu-jitsu move. It was like a jiu-jitsu move I done, you know, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I had him in a lock. See, all these come over, these goose and everything, birds come over, because they've been domesticated. That's why I had him in a lock, and I was licking him from one part of the room to the other. Bam, 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 bam. Mashing him up, licking his head against that wall, taking him and grabbing him up and licking his head against that wall. Yes, it was violent. It was violent, and there was blood in it. It was bloody. Yeah. So I'm just bringing out the points that I remember. It was bloody, and I had him in a headlock. I had him his head on the ground. He's heading up in the ceiling. I had him on the both sides of the ceiling, hitting his head from one part of the room to the other. Bang, 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 until he tapped out and he said, "Oh, I submit, I submit." So you know, that was just that was the main part. It's very quick. Next thing I know, I was on the move again, like King David, a fugitive, according to this vision. So the enemy came in. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, and the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob saith the Lord. These they're getting loud around here, all these birds and things. Let's walk around here. They're getting turned up, man. So the enemy came in like a flood. Jehoshua lifted up the standard, yeah, and turned the situation on its head. Spiritual power. So I'm going to entitle this video something along the lines of the name of the Lord gives power, or spiritual power soon come, something to that effect. Spiritual power soon come. Psalms 83 and 17 says, "Let them be confounded and troubled forever, ye let them be put to shame and perish." Yeah, how they going to do that? That men may know that he whose name alone is Yahweh art the Most High over all of the earth. That's how they're going to be put to shame. That's how they're going to be confounded. Yeah, because all those that want to try and hide the name and belittle the name, and the heathens are terrified of that name, it's a bad omen to them. They're going to be put to shame. They're going to be confounded through the power and the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh and his name. It is life. It's electric, and it would electrocute all those that try to come against it. It has an electrical effect on them, a bad energy on them. Yeah, and there's so many examples I can bring out. Let's bring out one example here of Joshua, highly esteemed as one of the men of the Lord, a role model. Joshua 23, and we start from 9. One example. There's many examples. 9 says, "For the Lord hath driven out from before you great nations and strong, but as for you, no man hath been able to stand before you unto this day." Yes. "So one man shall chase 1,000 for the Lord your God. For the Lord your God, he is it that fighteth for you, as hath promised you." Right. One man chase 1,000 for the Lord your God. He is he that fighteth for you. That's right, because he's in that fight for you. You understand? Your power don't come from you. Power comes from on high. So that's why it's so powerful, and it's electric, and it's live. It's a live wire to the heathens. They fear that name, man. All you got to do is say, "Kala Yahweh Bashim Yoshai." That goes through them like an electric shock. Kala Yahweh Bashim Yehoshai Bashim HaKodesh. Yeah. "One man shall chase 1,000 for the Lord your God. He is it that fighteth for you, as promised you, as has he promised you." So that's why we use that name. It is alive, and it's fearful unto the heathens. Yeah. Al-Shadja, demon-like power. Yeah. So the spirit comes on you, man. The spirit came on Moses. Yeah. Spirit came on David when he was facing all his enemies. He had them in derision. Goliath too. Take off him head, boy. Lick him down with a stone, and then go over to him and take off his head. That's the power of the Lord. The belief in that name. That's what it will do. Turn things on its head. Take heed therefore unto yourselves that you love the Lord your God. So that's an example there. That's how you do it. Yeah, like David, I mentioned David, Moses too, a meek man, but he was able to obtain that power and grow mighty in faith and strength. Yeah, to go and turn Pharaoh on his head, you know, with the plagues, the 10 plagues, and belittle all of his gods, and take, you know, our people, our forefathers out of Egypt, out of that bondage. That's all the power of the name. That's what it will do. One man shall chase 1,000, for the Lord your God, he it is that fighteth for you, as have promised you. Right. Is there any more we can bring out just to hit the ball out of the park? The examples, yeah. Deuteronomy 38. This could be the last example. And 30 says, Deuteronomy 32 and 30. How shall one chase 1,000? Again, another example. And two put 10,000 to flight, except the rock had sold them and the Lord had shut them up. Right. How can one chase 1,000 and put 10,000 to flight, except the rock 1,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them and the Lord had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judged. So that's how we're going to do that. You understand? It's all of the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. That's where the power comes from. It infuses us, just like our electricity infuses the cities. Yeah, it keeps things moving. Keeps things moving. It brings light to the cities and life to the cities. Keeps everything rolling and moving smoothly. So that's why there's power in that. So that's what we resort to. If our back is against the wall, we don't resort to carnal means, just like in that vision where I had that guy. Yeah, I had him in a headlock. Yeah, that through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. I had him under the power of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. I had him in a headlock. I turned it on its head. Instead of him apprehending me, I apprehended him. Yeah, and he ended up tapping out, just like you see in them MMA movies when they're overwhelmed with the guy. He's overwhelmed. He was overwhelmed through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. And the vision I had the other day, where the giants tried to surround me and intimidate me and get me out of my game, they ended up running, not me. I just said, Kala Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. And just like cockroaches, as big as they were and as many as they were, they flee. Yeah, just like when you turn on the lights and all the cockroaches run for their lives. So we're going to end off with this precept. Romans 10 and 13 says, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. So you must know the name, you must call upon it, as it goes on to say. You have to understand it, and you have to understand that there's power in that name, and there's salvation in no other name but Yahweh Yahushua. So we're going to end off there, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai Ba'ashem Harakah Badash, and the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai for giving me the spirit to do this video. And we're rising up, and this place is going down, and we can feel it through the spirit. Yeah, the left hand side energy is operating. We could feel the demons around on these people. Yeah, they just walk past you, and some of them you could just pick up just bad energies and bad vibrations of these people. But you know what, the right hand side energy is more powerful. That's why they get a little bit shooken. They get a little bit, you can see the looks on their faces. Yeah, you got the name. If you got that name on your forehead, which means that's what you believe in, that's how you live. Yeah, the demons ain't gonna like it, man. So we don't take it personally. We know that's what it is. You know, we got that aura around us, man. So, and that's power. That's like electricity. You understand? So rise up to the house of David, and everything the wicked have done to us, past, present, and future, is now falling upon their own head.